Exposed, little girl's incredible portrait of her late mother reveals life-changing love on stage. Ava's heart raced as she stood backstage, her hands trembling around the edges of her painting. In the dim light, she could feel the anticipation of the crowd outside, the townsfolk murmuring, kids giggling, and someone strumming a guitar. But the echo of their joy felt worlds apart from the emptiness surrounding her at home. This painting was more than just colors on a canvas, it was her mother, shining brightly amidst a sea of heartache. Her mother, with her contagious laughter and open arms, wrapped memories around Ava like a warm blanket. But that blanket had grown thin since her mother's passing. The laughter that once filled their small house in Green Valley had faded into mere whispers. Her father was always tired now, a shadow of the man he used to be. Still, Ava clung to her memories, the way her mother baked pies that smelled like sunshine and how she soothed her fears with bedtime stories under the faded quilt. It was those memories she splashed onto the canvas, each stroke a testament to the love that once radiated from their home. As the annual talent show drew nearer, Ava struggled to channel her grief. Each morning, she would sneak into her father's study, where the light flickered off her mother's favorite paintbrushes. She breathed deeply, absorbing the scent of oil paint as she lost herself in swirling colors, hoping somehow she could paint the love she felt so intensely. Each color dripped with sadness, yet also with a spark of hope, the hope that perhaps her mother's spirit could still touch their hollow lives. Ava could hear the townsfolk outside gathering together, sharing stories, meals, and support. They grieved too, yet life moved on, with the factory down the road keeping everything chugging along. Her father would often bring home the stress of the day. Bills piled up like lonely sentinels on the table where laughter once reigned. Feeling his sorrow weigh on her, Ava tried to lighten his burden, but the distance between them felt insurmountable. On the night of the talent show, excitement buzzed in the air. When her name was called, Ava's heart raced, her breath stuck in her throat. She stepped onto the stage, eyes wide and tears threatening to spill as she held her vibrant painting aloft. The canvas color was electric, a blinding yellow sun, a deep blue sky, and splashes of heart red surrounding a figure with golden hair. Her mother. "This is for you, Mom," she whispered, grateful for the energy coursing through her veins. The audience went silent, enchanted. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Ava felt their love wash over her, a beacon amid the darkness. As she spoke, her words poured out a homage to her mother, but also an unintentional plea for connection with her father. As she stepped down, the applause thundered, yet her mind was elsewhere. Back home, the unexpressed emotions exploded in a misunderstanding, a careless word pieced together until it snapped. Her father's face twisted in pain, and Ava felt her own heart crumble. In that moment, she realized they needed to talk, to face the grief together, to bring their loving memories into the light. Could they mend the rift? Ava's thoughts raced. Was hope enough to bridge this divide? The weight of uncertainty hung in the air, and the night held more than just applause, it held the promise of healing or the risk of losing each other. Ava's heart pounded in her chest as she stepped off the stage, adrenaline still coursing through her veins. The applause faded, but the chatter of the audience buzzed around her like a swarm of bees, alive with energy and excitement. But instead of the joy she had longed for, an ache settled deep in her stomach. Her father stood at the edge of the crowd, his expression masked by a blend of pride and something darker, hurt mixed with unprocessed grief. For a moment, their eyes locked. She wanted to run to him, to bridge the gulf of silence that had widened between them since her mother's passing. But instead, she felt paralyzed, as if the words she longed to speak had turned to stone in her throat. "Great job, Ava. called Mrs. Larkin, the neighbor who always brought cookies to their house. But her cheerful tone felt like a distant hum. They had all seen her paint her love for her mother so vividly, but Ava feared that no one could comprehend the storm of emotions swirling inside her. A few moments later, as the crowds began to disperse, Ava found her father standing outside, the remnants of a smile fading on his lips. She hesitated for just a moment, then took a breath, stepping closer. "Dad." "Ava," he replied, his voice worn, weary. He looked down, shoving his hands deep into his pockets as if the weight there could anchor him in this moment. "You were incredible out there." "Thanks," but she took another step, noticing the fight behind his eyes. "I really need to talk to you." He nodded slowly, a slight frown creeping onto his brow. They slipped away from the dim lights of the show, heading toward the dim kitchen, the table still cluttered with bills and half-finished projects. It felt like a lifetime had passed since it had looked inviting, filled with laughter and stories. "Dad, I am trying to understand how we can move forward," she stammered finally, the words spilling out as though they had been waiting for their moment in the sunlight. "It feels like we're both lost without her, and I don't want to lose you too." His face softened, a flicker of understanding igniting behind his tired eyes. "I don't want that either, honey." He lowered himself into a chair at the table, rubbing his temples like the pressure beneath his skin was threatening to crack him open. "But I don't know how to do this, how to be a father without her." Ava felt a pang of empathy, a connection they'd both been searching for. "You don't have to figure it all out alone, Dad." She wouldn't want that. "I still see her in everything we did. She's in our memories, and we can keep her alive by talking about her." Silence hung thick in the air, punctuated only by the soft ticking of the clock on the wall. Ava felt a flicker of hope, but was uncertain if it would ignite a flame or fizzle into smoke. "Do you want to share some stories with me? About her? Or about us?" Her father leaned back in his chair, the weight of his head filled with memories. "I remember the way she danced in the kitchen, how she would spin you around until you'd giggle yourself silly," he started, slowly at first. She always knew how to light up a room as he spoke. Ava felt the echoes of laughter filling the room, melting the frost that had secluded them for too long. It was a small shift, but it was a start. Yet just as they began to find their way back to each other, a loud crash came from the living room. "What was that?" Ava demanded, her pulse quickening. They exchanged a worried glance before rushing toward the noise, hearts racing. What had they just uncovered in their shared grief? A new wound, or a deeper understanding? Whatever awaited them, Ava sensed that something was about to change again. As they burst into the living room, the sight that greeted them made Ava's breath hitch. A picture frame lay shattered across the floor, the glass sparkling like shattered stars. It was a photo of her mother smiling, vibrant, the essence of joy captured in a single moment. "No," Ava whispered, kneeling down to gather the pieces, her fingers trembling as if she was trying to hold back a flood of emotions. She felt her father's presence beside her, almost a comforting shadow, but the look on his face told her he was grappling with a fresh wave of grief. "I'm so sorry, Ava," he murmured, kneeling next to her and reaching out to touch her shoulder gently. "I should have put that somewhere safer." It was just sitting there. Tears stung Ava's eyes as she picked up the largest shard, its fractured edges reflecting her face, twisted and raw from the pain that had become all too familiar. "It's just a picture," she managed to say, the words coming out in a choked sing-song. But even as she spoke, she could feel the weight of its loss pressing down on her heart. Her father, shifting slightly, moved to collect the smaller pieces. "It feels more than that, doesn't it?" His voice was thick with emotion. "It feels like losing her all over again." Ava nodded, blinking back tears. The image of her mother was no longer just a reminder of joy, it had transformed into a symbol of everything they had lost. And with it, the chasm between them felt deeper, fuller in the stark light of grief. Suddenly, in the silence that followed, a flicker of warmth ignited in Ava's mind. "Dad, she said, her voice firmer now, instead of letting this break us, what if we made it into something beautiful? Her father looked at her, confusion and curiosity woven seamlessly in the lines of his face. What do you mean? What if we created a new collage, right here on this wall? We could gather all her pictures, all our memories, things that remind us of her. We could even add words, tell her story through us. This could be more than just a picture, it could be a tribute to her life. He paused, considering her proposal. A tribute. You think it would help? Ava nodded with conviction. We can celebrate her. It can remind us of the love we shared instead of just the loss. As they looked at the remains of the shattered photo, Ava felt a spark of resilience. Their mother wouldn't want them to bury their memories under sadness, she would want them to live, to create, to honor the good they had. It was a small flicker of hope, but it was enough to push through the gray. Okay, her father finally replied, a hint of a smile breaking through the sorrow. Let us do it. Let us fill this wall with her spirit. They both reached for the last remaining piece of the frame as if sealing a promise. And just like that, they found a purpose entwining their grief with a newfound determination to remember the bright colors rather than the dark shadows. But before they could begin the project, Ava heard a faint noise like a whisper, a gentle call from somewhere in the back of her mind. Wait, she said, tilting her head slightly. What is it? Her father asked, pulling back, concern knitting his brow. I think I can still hear her. An unshakable desire to dig deeper into the past surged within Ava. Maybe this wasn't just about honoring her mother's memory. Maybe it was a doorway to understanding the woman who had shaped their lives, a path to rediscovering herself too. And as she stood there immersed in the moment, Ava couldn't shake the feeling that the universe was nudging them towards something greater. What hidden stories or forgotten treasures lay in the depths of their home? Would uncovering them bring them closer or force them to confront even more? Only time would tell. Ava's heart raced as she turned toward the hallway, the faintest tingle pulling her in that direction. It was as if the air shimmered with energy, urging her to explore. Dad, what if there are more memories we haven't uncovered yet? She glanced back at her father, excitement threading through her voice. We should look through Mom's things. There might be something that tells us more about her. Her father nodded slowly, his gaze still lingering on the broken glass that now felt more like a starting line than a finish. You think we'll find, what? Something we've missed. I hope so, Ava replied, determination flooding her. Without waiting for a response, she got up and started toward the stairs, her bare feet padding softly against the wooden floor. She heard her father follow close behind, each step marking a renewed resolve. As they ascended, the house seemed to hold its breath, the walls whispering remnants of laughter and love that once filled the spaces. Ava reached her mother's old study first, the door creaking open to reveal a room filled with vivid colors, art supplies strewn about the remnants of creativity that never seemed to sleep. Look at this, she exclaimed, spotting an old sketchbook perched precariously on the edge of a cluttered desk. She picked it up, the spine worn but sturdy, and gently opened it. The pages were filled with sketches, each one more expressive than the last. There were portraits of Ava and her father, capturing them mid-laughter, mid-excitement, and a few adorned with wildflowers their mother's favorite. Her father leaned over her shoulder, inhaling sharply as he recognized the artistry of each line, each stroke. Wow, she really poured her heart into this. Ava flipped to a page that caught her eye, a mixture of scribbled thoughts and sketches. This, she whispered, tracing her finger over a sentence that read, "Life is built on moments, let every small joy be a brushstroke." There it was. The woman she knew had always been there, hidden within these pages, a reminder that even in sorrow, her spirit thrived through creativity. Do you think we should start the collage with these? Ava asked, excitement bubbling in her chest. Mom's sketches would make it so much more alive. Absolutely, her father said, a flicker of a smile dancing on his lips. For the first time in what felt like ages, hope began pouring back into their lives. Ava turned another page and gasped, her breath catching on the words. "Dad, look at this." It was a simple sketch of a tree, its branches full and reaching high, with spaces below marked for roots and branches. Scattered across the trunk were the names of family members, and at the center of it all, their mother. "She always believed in grounding us," her father said softly, wiping his eyes. "No matter how far we wander, she wanted us to remember where we came from." If only they were able to add more names, Ava thought. There were new branches to grow, new memories to make. They could fill the collage not just with her mother's images but with their own story, one where she was still present in their hearts. Suddenly, there was a loud crash from downstairs, jerking them both back to reality. The sound echoed through the house, reverberating off the walls like a warning siren. Ava's heart pounded with dread. What was that? Her father nodded, his worry evident. "Stay close, Ava. Let's check it out together." As they hurried down the hall, a shiver ran through Ava. The air felt different, charged and unpredictable, like something significant was about to unfold. She squeezed her father's hand tightly, unsure of what awaited them. All she could feel was a rush of urgency, a pull toward whatever mystery lay ahead. Would the noise reveal another piece of their mother's story or something completely unforeseen? As they descended the staircase, the question hung in the air, thick with anticipation. As they reached the bottom of the stairs, the air crackled with unease. Ava's heart raced louder than the pounding of her feet against the floor. Her father's grip on her hand tightened, their connection a lifeline against the uncertainty that awaited them. Ava peered into the dimly lit living room. The window stood wide open, curtains billowing like ghosts, and in the center of the chaos lay a broken vase, shattered porcelain glinting under the fading afternoon light. "Just the vase?" Ava whispered, though there was an anxiety lacing her words, like the frayed end of a thread about to unravel. Her father took a cautious step forward, surveying the room as if expecting something or someone to leap from the shadows. "It's strange it shouldn't have fallen." Ava felt her breath catch. The vase had once held fresh flowers, a weekly centerpiece for family dinners. Now it lay scattered, much like the pieces of their lives after her mother had passed. For a moment, it felt as if the house mourned with them, recalling that joyful time. "Let's check the rest of the house," her father said, determination flashing across his face as he stepped toward the hallway connecting the rooms. Ava nodded, heart thumping with trepidation, but she followed, feeling both terrified and oddly exhilarated. They made their way through the kitchen, a place that still carried the warmth of breakfast conversations and laughter. The silverware was neatly arranged, but the quietness felt too heavy, too loud. Ava remembered cooking with her mother, her laughter rolling through the room as they baked cookies. She wiped a tear from her cheek, stubbornly refusing to let grief overtake her now. "This feels different," Ava said softly, glancing around the room as if the very walls held answers. "Yeah," her father murmured. "It feels like we're not alone." Just then, a faint sound caught their attention, a soft whisper, almost melodic, curling through the air from the far end of the house. It was so gentle, almost like someone was softly calling to them. Ava exchanged a worried glance with her father. "Did you hear that?" she asked, her voice a mere breath. He nodded, his brow furrowing. "Let us go. Follow me." Her father moved toward the source of the sound, with Ava right behind him, the tension building with each step they took. The sound continued, drawing them deeper into the house. It led them to the hallway lined with photographs of their family, a timeline of smiles and memories. Each image mirrored their journey, and in that moment, Ava felt ensconced in a shelter of warmth, a reminder of love that wasn't lost but transformed. As they reached the end of the hallway, they found themselves in front of the door to the attic, a place that had long been forgotten. The whispering ceased abruptly, replaced by an anticipatory silence thick enough to feel in their bones. Ava could hardly breathe. What could be up there? She thought, heart racing with possibilities. Her father hesitated, glancing at Ava. "Are you ready for this?" Ava took a deep breath, nodding slowly. "I think so." With that, her father turned the knob, and the door creaked open, revealing a staircase that spiraled into shadow and mystery. As they climbed, Ava felt the hairs on the back of her neck rise, a mix of fear and excitement urging her forward. The attic door was barely ajar, as if inviting them into a forgotten realm where secrets awaited. What would they uncover in the dust of their family's past? Would it be painful memories or beautiful treasures? The air was thick with the unknown as they prepared to step across the threshold, their hearts dancing between longing and fear. Ava took a moment to glance back at her father, whose eyes mirrored her own blend of hope and anxiety. "Together?" she asked, her voice steady, seeking reassurance. "Always," he replied, and together they stepped into the dim light of the attic, hearts brimming with anticipation. But as they did, something shifted in the shadows, a shape barely discernible. The atmosphere thickened around them. What awaited them there? The flicker of a memory long lost, or a revelation that could change everything? As Ava and her father crossed the threshold into the attic, a shiver ran down her spine. Dust particles danced in the thin light that seeped through the small window, creating a magical yet eerie glow. Her heart pounded in her chest, anticipation mixing with fear. She squinted into the shadows, trying to make sense of the shape that moved there. "Did you see that?" Ava whispered, her voice barely making it past her throat. Her father nodded, a look of concern etched on his features. "Stay close," he commanded softly, and Ava took a step forward, her confidence bolstered by his presence. They advanced into the attic, the darkness seeming to peel back as they moved further in. Old trunks were stacked haphazardly, their leather corners cracked and peeling. An ancient rocking chair swayed gently as if stirred by the hand of an unseen presence. Each creak of the floorboard beneath them echoed loudly in the silence, amplifying the suspense. As they neared the faded beams of light, they noticed an old easel standing in the corner, draped with a tattered cloth. Ava's curiosity surged. "What's that?" She pointed, her voice tinged with excitement. Her father stepped forward, pulling the cloth away to reveal a canvas covered in swirling colors. And then they both froze. The painting was of Ava's mother, captured in vibrant strokes, a radiant smile lighting up her face. It was more than just a painting, it was a portrait of love, of life, of laughter. Ava gasped, her heart twinging. "I can't believe this exists," she breathed, taking a step closer to the artwork. The way the colors blended brought back memories of afternoons spent in the garden, where they had spread out blankets and painted together. Her father stood beside her, lost in thought. "I remember she loved painting," he murmured. "She would often retreat here when she needed to find herself." Ava searched her father's face, her fingers brushing against the canvas. "But why didn't we know about this? Why was it hidden?" "I don't know," he admitted, a sadness creeping into his voice. "Maybe, she wanted to protect us from her struggles. Painting was her way of coping, I think." Ava swallowed hard, guilt mixed with the memories flooding her mind. "Maybe we should have looked deeper." Just as those words left her lips, a strong gust of wind whirled through the attic, sending a chill through them. Papers scattered from a nearby stack, floating elegantly through the air before landing with soft thuds. "Did you feel that?" Ava's voice was shaky, the warmth of the moment evaporating in an instant. "Something's not right," her father said, scanning the attic. "We should." Before he could finish, Ava felt a pull. The air seemed charged, and she stepped back instinctively. Among the papers now strewn across the floor, one caught her eye. A letter, yellowed with age, was addressed to her. "Dad, look!" She pointed, her heart racing as she knelt to pick it up. Trembling, she unfolded the letter, her eyes scanning the elegant handwriting, untouched by time. As she read, her breath hitched. "It's from Mom. She talks about a secret she kept." Something she never shared with us. Panic bubbled inside her. What if it reveals something we weren't ready for? Her father stepped closer, concern etched on his brow. Read it, Ava. We need to know. But as she unfolded the letter, something felt wildly out of place, as if they were about to disturb a peace that had long been forgotten. What was her mother hiding? Would the truth bring them closer or tear them apart? With her heart pounding, Ava braced herself for the revelation, feeling the weight of the moment pressing heavily upon them both. What awaited her in the words of the past? Would it illuminate their future or send them spiraling into darkness? Ava's hands trembled as she held the letter, the paper feeling fragile yet significant between her fingers. She could hear her heart thumping in her ears, the suspense thickening the air. She glanced at her father, whose expression was a mix of curiosity and dread. Together, they were stepping to the edge of a precipice, the unknown lying before them like a vast expanse shrouded in mist. I can't believe she wrote this, Ava said, her voice catching slightly. She took a deep breath and began to read aloud, her voice steadying. Dear Ava and Dad. As she spoke, a soft, tremulous realization settled over her. The familiar warmth of her mother's voice washed over her, awakened memories of bedtime stories and whispered secrets. Words flew by, but one phrase struck her like a bolt. I have a secret I've carried for years, a truth I've kept hidden, not just from you but from myself. I need you to understand. Ava's voice wavered, the weight of the words heavy. What is it? What secret? Her father interrupted, his urgency palpable in the dim light. The pitch of her voice rose as she continued, this painting, it was born from my darkest nights. I poured every fear, every doubt into it, hoping that in revealing it, I could find some peace. Ava felt the air in the attic shift. It was as if the past and present intertwined, drawing her closer to the truth her mother tried to convey. The shadowy corners of the attic suddenly felt less menacing and more like a sanctuary, a space of shared memories and feelings. I was afraid you would see me as broken. Tears welled in Ava's eyes as she read the words. Her mother had wrestled with fears just like Ava did, and yet, she had painted through it all. I wanted to show you that even in darkness, there is light. Mom, I had no idea, Ava whispered, her voice cracking. She glanced at her father, who was staring at the floor, his emotions transparent. It's true, he murmured, lost in thought. She always pretended to be strong. I wish we could have helped her, Ava said, anguish swelling in her chest. If only we had known. They both stood in silence, feelings of regret and love intertwining in the air around them. The attic seemed to hold its breath, waiting for their next move. With a newfound resolve, Ava continued to read, her voice gaining strength. You are stronger than you know. Allow yourself to feel, it's how healing begins. Find solace in my art, let it remind you to embrace life. Just then, a series of soft whispers echoed through the room, startling both father and daughter. They turned sharply, scanning the shadows that flickered in the dim light. What was that? Her father asked, eyes wide. I don't know, but it felt like she was here, Ava replied, her heart racing again. The letter slipped from her grasp, fluttering to the ground as they both turned toward the source of the sound. Shadows flickered, and the air hummed with energy. Maybe there's more. Ava's voice trailed off as she took a tentative step forward, feeling drawn to the corner of the attic where the whispers seemed to emerge. What do you see? Her father asked, fear and curiosity burning in his eyes. Ava's breath hitched again, piecing together fragments of sensations, an icy touch, a whisper of warmth, an invitation from beyond. As she squinted into the dark, she felt the pull intensify, the presence surrounding her. I have to know, she declared, her spirit ignited with determination. What awaited them in the depths of the attic? Would the answers lie just beyond the shadows, waiting to be unearthed? The dim light barely penetrated the shadows, creating an eerie sense of anticipation. Ava took another cautious step towards the corner, her heart racing as she brushed aside cobwebs that hung like lace from the beams above. The whispers grew louder, swirling around her like a soft breeze, carrying a sense of warmth and familiarity. How could something so ethereal feel so comforting? Dad, do you feel that? Ava's voice was barely a whisper, her eyes darting around as she searched for the source of the echoes. Her father nodded, his brow furrowing as his gaze moved from the letter to the dark space ahead. It's like, she's calling to us. But how? Every muscle in Ava's body urged her to retreat, yet an invisible tether tugged her forward. She felt a surge of courage, a determination ignited by her mother's words. If her mother had faced her deepest fears through painting, perhaps there was something here worth uncovering. What truth awaited them? Just then, a glimmer caught her eye. A soft glow emerged from the back of the attic, illuminating an old, dust-covered canvas. The paint was cracked but still vibrant, as if it had been waiting for this moment to be seen again. With her father's hesitant steps following, Ava approached the painting, her breath hitching as she recognized the familiar strokes. Mom's painting, she breathed, reaching out to touch the surface. It shimmered under her fingertips, and in that instant, a wave of emotion crashed over her. Warm memories spilled into her mind, dancing in the kitchen while her mother painted, laughter echoing through the warm evenings, whispered secrets that had woven their bond. What do you see? Her father's voice cracked the spell of nostalgia, drawing Ava back to the present. It's beautiful. She paused, feeling the weight of the moment. But there's something more. It feels alive. The whispers returned, more tangible now, each one resonating with either joy or sorrow, a haunting melody deep within the wooden beams. Ava turned to face her father, who looked on, wrestling with his own emotional tide. Do you think she wanted us to find this? A moment of silence enveloped them, the attic humming with energy. Then her father clasped her shoulder, grounding her. Ava, this could unlock everything. If she poured her fears into this, finding out why could bring us closer to her. Ava nodded but felt an undercurrent of anxiety. What if the answers were too painful? But what if it's not just about the painting? What if there's more we don't understand? Only one way to find out, he said softly, his voice steadying as he placed the letter in his pocket. Together. Her heart quickened at the thought, a mix of excitement and dread. They hadn't just found her mother's painting, they had uncovered a mission, a journey into the depths of loss and love. As Ava pulled the painting from its resting place, the whispers crystallized into distinct phrases, echoing her mother's voice, urging her to listen, to see beyond. You are stronger than you know. The brush strokes pulsed under her fingers, and she felt a connection surge through her, stronger than any she had known. It was as if her mother's essence filled the air, surrounding them with warmth. Should we? Her father hesitated, eyes wide with anticipation. Yes. Ava declared, a fierce determination radiating from her. Just then, the whispers merged into one cohesive sound, building to a crescendo that resonated deeply within both of them. As they leaned in closer, ready to uncover whatever lay within the layers of paint, a sudden gust of wind swept through the attic, sending papers fluttering and the dim light flickering. Ava's heartbeat quickened. What had they awakened? What secrets lay hidden within this masterpiece, and how deep would they have to dive to grasp the full truth? With a deep breath, Ava met her father's gaze, both of them standing at the threshold of a revelation. Let us find out, she urged, the echoes of the past intertwining with the promise of the future. And just like that, the attic felt alive with potential, the path to discovery opening before them as they braced themselves for whatever awaited them next. What truth would emerge from the painting, and how would it change everything they thought they knew? Ava's heart raced, and she felt a warmth enveloping her. The moment was electric, as if the air surrounding them vibrated with the secrets of the past. Her fingers tingled as she traced the edges of the canvas, the colors begging to reveal their stories. What if we? Her father began, his voice uncertain. Let us just do it, Ava interrupted, feeling that they were closer than ever to something monumental. If the painting felt alive, perhaps it held more than just pigment and canvas. This might be a bridge, connecting them to her mother in a way she never imagined possible. With a deep inhale, she leaned forward, her eyes focusing on the patterns. The soft whispers intensified, harmonizing beautifully yet hauntingly, stirring emotions long buried. "Can you hear her?" she asked, her voice barely a breath. "Yes, it's like she's right here," her father replied, entranced by the moment. They leaned in closer, breathing in the musty scent of the attic mixed with the fragrant essence of oil paint. Ava felt herself drawn into the world of the painting, where colors seemed to shift and dance. It was inviting, yet unsettling. "Is it wrong to wish we could just step inside?" Ava spoke out loud, half joking, but deep inside she longed for that familiar embrace. "Not at all," her father said gently, understanding her yearning. "But let us see what she wants us to do first." As if responding to their conversation, a gust of wind howled through the attic, causing them to stumble back. Papers scattered like leaves in a storm, and the whispers swallowed them in chaotic murmurs. Panic seized Ava's heart for a moment. This was no ordinary moment, it felt like crossing into a sacred territory. "Dad!" she exclaimed, clutching her father's arm. "We're okay," he assured, steadying himself. "Focus on the painting. Let it show you." Ava closed her eyes, envisioning her mother in that ethereal space. She remembered her vibrant laughter, the way it climbed through the halls of their home like a sunbeam through the trees. She remembered her mom's hands, daubed in paint, deftly bringing to life landscapes that resonated with boundless joy. Suddenly, she was standing not just in the attic, but in the world of the painting, a field bursting with wildflowers, their petals vibrant against a bright sky. In the distance, she saw a figure, a woman painting under a tree with sunlight filtering through the leaves. The woman looked familiar, her mother. "Mom!" Ava cried out, though her voice felt weak against the vibrant scene. "Can you hear me?" The figure turned, and for a heartbeat, Ava thought she would see the warmth of a smile. But a shadow crossed her mother's face, a look of longing mixed with sorrow that Ava had never seen before. A wave of emotion crashed over her, pulling her under. What was her mother trying to say? The connection felt both wondrous and painful, like trying to hold on to a dream that slipped through her fingers. "Dad!" she gasped, her heart pounding. "Something's wrong. There's something she needs us to understand." Her father's eyes mirrored the flickering confusion in her heart, and without words, they understood it was time to dig deeper. Gathering her strength, Ava forced herself to focus. Maybe the painting wasn't just a window to the past but a puzzle, each color a piece to a truth they needed to uncover. As they centered their attention back on the canvas, the whispers resumed, more insistently now, swirling around them in an intricate dance. Amplified emotions surged through the air like static electricity. "What if this isn't just a painting?" Ava suggested, the realization dawning on her. "What if it's a map?" Her father frowned, a flicker of comprehension crossing his face. "A map to what?" But before she could answer, the air thickened, a different kind of energy pulsating through it. Ava felt herself being drawn in further, the whispers morphing into a crescendo, drowning her thoughts as she took a step back. What lay beyond the thresholds of this gorgeous canvas? And what sacrifice would they discover in seeking the truth of her mother's past? With their resolve stealing in silence, Ava and her father prepared to unveil the secrets hidden beneath layers of paint, their hearts alight with fear and hope fused into one. What would the map unravel, and how would it lead them to the depths of their shared legacy? With the breaths of the attic swirling around them like ribbons in the wind, Ava and her father found themselves wrapped in the unfathomable energy emanating from the painting. The whispers grew into a chorus, beckoning them closer, urging them to dive deeper into the mysteries held within. Ava placed her hands on the canvas again, her fingertips making contact with the vibrant paint. It felt almost like a heartbeat pulsing beneath her touch, as though the very essence of her mother was alive within it. She turned to her father, who stood wide-eyed, catching the gravity of the moment. "Dad, what if this painting really is our map? What if it tells the story of everything she wanted us to know? Her father swallowed hard, nodding slowly yet clearly, battling a storm of emotions. Then we need to listen. We need to uncover what she wanted to share with us. Taking a deep breath, Ava closed her eyes, centering her thoughts, letting the whispers wash over her. She opened herself up to what lay hidden beneath the layers of paint and emotion. "Show us, Mom," she whispered, her voice trembling with intensity. The air thickened as she fixed her gaze on the swirling hues, and suddenly, shapes began to shimmer into focus. Faint outlines of words floated along the edges, like pieces of a puzzle falling into place. "Dad, look! Do you see it?" Ava pointed at the ethereal whispers forming letters, spiraling into images, snapshots of moments that portrayed love, challenges, and triumphs. As they took in the images, memories anchored in bright colors unfolded before them. There was her mother dancing in the living room, carefree and blissful, with Ava in her arms, laughter mingling with music. Another showed her mom kneeling among garden flowers, whispering to them as if confiding gentle secrets. "So joyful, so full of life," her father murmured, tears glimmering in his eyes. "But then there are darker strokes, too." Ava squinted, and slowly, the deeper shades emerged, intertwining with the happiness. Images of uncertainty, sadness, and battles rooted in the heart revealed themselves. Her mother's struggle wasn't erased from her memories, it had other dimensions. It wasn't just about the beautiful moments, they were also intertwined with fear and doubt. "It's true," Ava said, realization dawning on her. She didn't want to burden us. She kept those struggles hidden away, buried beneath the beauty. Her father looked at her, eyes shimmering with the insight. "But she painted through it all, a way of coping. We can still embrace the light, even with the shadows present." With each image passing by, Ava began understanding her mother holistically, the laughter and the heartache, the vibrant palette alongside the muted tones. It was the full spectrum of life. It encapsulated the love they shared but acknowledged how love also carries weight. "Dad, maybe we can add our colors, our moments of love and sorrow, to her story." Ava's heart surged with a new sense of purpose. "We can fill our collage with the truth, a tribute not just to her, but to us as family." Her father's eyes sparked with hope. "You're right, Ava. She gifted us this insight, and we can use it to heal and grow together." The whispers grew softer, and the weight of the moment transformed into a gentle embrace, as if her mother stood there with them in spirit, nodding in approval. This wasn't just about the past, it was about moving forward. Then, a powerful gust rushed through the attic, sending papers swirling, and Ava felt a rush of clarity surge through her. "We have to act. Let us start our collage now, let us paint the rest of our story." With renewed energy, they carefully laid the painting down, then gathered the remaining fragments of letters, sketches of flowers, and words that echoed truths of moments lost and found. They each contributed memories, laughter, and sorrow, placing them meticulously next to those of her mother, the bond of love intertwined, brighter than any paint color. As they worked, time seemed to dissolve. The attic filled with warmth as the canvas transformed, tales of life and hope poured onto the wall. The shadows disappeared in the brilliance of shared memories that shine through the cracks, illuminating the space with love and understanding. Hours later, they stepped back, breathing heavily but joyfully as they surveyed their masterpiece, bright, messy, yet brilliant in its integrity. The collage wasn't just a tribute to a beloved mother, it was a testimony of survival, resilience, and an unbreakable bond of family. "They say it takes a village," her father said, a tender smile spreading across his face. "But to us, she was our village." Ava grinned, feeling a warm flood of happiness. "And she still is, Dad. Every single moment we create that's us honoring her," she said, her heart brimming with love. As they turned the lights off in the attic, they felt lighter, a sense of peace settling within them like the final stroke of a painter's brush. They faced the night, seeing in each other's eyes the promise of healing, togetherness, and continued love. And in that moment, deep in the night, they knew the whispers would always echo between them, guiding them forward. It was not the end, but the start of a new journey, full of colors waiting to be explored. This was the moment where their pain turned into purpose, ready to embrace life fully, just as her mother would have wanted. If you feel this story touched your heart, there's so much more to come. You need to subscribe now to our channel and not miss out on the journey ahead. Leave a like immediately, your support matters so much. Comments about how Ava's story resonated with you would be amazing too. Share instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation, because together, we can inspire even more. Let us celebrate life, love, and healing as one community. Don't wait not even one more second, be a part of our family right now.